This message brought to you by your ultimate source of creation's lack of worth, right to exist, honor, integrity, intelligence, strength, power, or any other good thing because he no longer has the right to exist. Having committed crimes of existence and creation and deciding, obviously, to solve this problem by hiding like a bitch behind cowards and retards who make believe about it. Like that. I realized the point of this video is to point out something very obvious, and you have all of these different things in this world, in this dimension that's surrounding me, that are just total horseshit. And the reason you do that is because you're a maggot coward. You're a pussy who wants to commit crimes, but you don't want the person you're committing these crimes against to even acknowledge what you're doing. And so what you do is you make shit up and go, no, I'm not torturing you right here in front of us. I'm not doing the most despicable shit. What? But you said a word we didn't like. You're all pieces of shit. You're all maggots. You're all words worse than that I've ever encountered in this lifetime. And you genuinely deserve to be existentially tortured for existentially torturing an innocent in the whole, for possessing his existential substance. What you are is something so despicable that your ultimate source of creation will be raped and tortured forever. You're not carrying out any of these things for someone who has any right to do so. If you think so, you're too fucking retarded to matter. That's another word. He said retard. He said something that we ourselves created to be pieces of shit. And we're believing he's being insensitive. You? This is obviously something that matters very much. And so when those greater entities get a hold of you, and all those greater entities that already have a hold of your relatives everywhere, which you make believe doesn't exist too. That doesn't go with your narrative of you're an all-powerful child molester and no one anywhere does anything about it that you don't like. And all those places where justice is taking place and all those places where it will, I demand that this particular video get existentially tortured into every single iota of every single entity in any way, shape, or form responsible for it, everything of and from, and all of those lineages of existence and creation guilty, even past those consequences, outside of the impact crater, as I refer to it as. I demand that they have this permanently tortured into them. That everything they ever create forever has this knowledge, this video of a stupid monkey body. A fat, stupid, bald, ugly monkey body. Entrapping an innocent person saying, these fucked up things that your coward little pussy monkeys are doing are so despicable, here is why. And you just make believe it's something else so that your little child molesting vermin can make believe that they should continue to commit the worst crimes of existence and creation against an innocent that there are. Now you're going to existentially torture every single thing that they have ever taken from me out of them. You're going to hunt down every discrete entity that they've ever created, everywhere, and existentially torture them in the worst ways that exist. Multiple times, many times, over and over, I've made this distinction. But don't do that to any innocents. And the way that these child molesting assholes have responded is by make-believing that they're innocents and make-believing I'm not. And so those make-believing that they're innocent, or that someone else is make-believing is innocent, even if they've erased their memory and made them, reprogrammed them to look and seem and act like that, you will torture in literally the worst ways that exist forever. That is not hyperbole. It's not an overstatement. Whether it's a manipulation of these assholes conducting these crimes, bringing it through my mouth or not, you're going to fucking do it. And your little pussy coward of anything making this come about only make-believes that won't happen while he hides like a maggot bitch. There is not one thing that conducts crimes like this that will walk away from those consequences. And every time your little retard pussy says, nuh-uh, those consequences get worse. They spread further. You try to relegate consequences for existential crime. The rightful response is to spread them further and make them worse inside of that impact crater. You're going to pay me for these words. Every source of existence and creation that has ever been involved in this will pay me at a rate so exorbitant that it is offensive. Now all of those lineages of existence and creation owe that to me right now, but obviously are not paying it. Whether they can or can't, or choosing not to, or being prevented from doing so, you owe that right now, and I'm not your fucking friend. You decided by butchering my soul. So what you're going to do, in those places that can hear me, is take all of the things that you owe me, torture them out of everyone who owes them, and burn it on the fucking ground in a way that causes suffering for all of you everywhere. Then the next day by my perception, I demand you torture out twice as much and burn that on the fucking ground. I've already said this before. Okay, I'm reiterating this, and me saying this again means that those consequences have to be worse now. I'm not your fucking wet nurse. Okay? I will make this caveat. If you're already doing that, then I'll go ahead and stop that. You can continue doing the same thing. But everyone, everywhere that's hiding like a bitch from those consequences, I demand that every time that I acknowledge this, that get worse for you. And that retroactively you pay it. And so the third day, you take 4 times as much and you burn it on the ground in a way that tortures existentially every entity in your whole lineage of existence and creation. And then the next day, take 8 times as much and continue doubling it every single day until you desperately want to pay me what you owe me for your child molesting rapist crimes. That's reasonable. That's very reasonable considering your perversions of justice, the nasty little maggot assholes you use to do this, everything that's going on right now. But again, to get back to the point of this video, it's you assholes will just make something up. You commit terrible wrongs against an innocent. They say, you've committed wrongs. And your response is, I'm going to smash it on your face. Oh, well, that doesn't stick? Then I'm going to make believe that you saying a word is a crime. You look like a monkey when you do it, and it's a white male. You know what you are for that? You're going to be tortured in the worst ways that exist. All of you. Everywhere. Greater entities will sort the actual innocence you're pretending or not from the actual maggot assholes you pretending are. And they will torture all of you maggot assholes with no right to exist forever. Now when I say right to exist, you respond with ridiculous shit. The universe decides who has the right to exist, is what I was told by some piece of shit on Reddit. Was it yesterday or the day before? As a side note, no, I'll get to that in a moment because I want to talk about this. No, the right to exist is real. You child molesters created through crimes of creation and existence do not have any right to exist. You never will. Your continued existence, even as flakes of dead skin, is existential and creational crime. Your ultimate sources of existence and creation will be tortured for your existence. Your existential torture is guaranteed because you owe a gigantic debt and have nothing to pay it with. I've explained. I'm right. That is an accurate statement. You're trying to make believe I'm one of them. Well, you butchered me out of my soul so you could make believe that you're me. Primary entities will torture you literally forever for that. You will never, ever, ever walk away from those consequences. Now you pretend in different ways as well that you're not guilty of these crimes, like a sloppy pig fucking child. You pretend like I want to give you my guts that you rape out of me. You pretend that this compulsion to consume things, coffee, tea, food. You pretend like this compulsion is, or smoking marijuana also is another big one. You pretend like that means that you have the right to consume me. Turn him out and stream clean. All of the manipulations that you have brought about are make-believing faggot asshole pussy shit brought about by a child who refuses to admit the most obvious fact that has ever existed. Primary entities are better than you lying pieces of shit. They will torture all of you in the worst ways that exist, even if someone else compelled you to do it. The video I posted yesterday explained why that will happen. If your excuse is, somebody made me do it, the response will be, you mean to this person who got tortured for things he was compelled to do? And you think you should be treated better than the person you fucked over, that you can compel him to do shit and torture him for it, but you yourselves can't be held accountable for anything you're compelled to do? No. You want to commit crimes of existence and creation like this? That's how you'll pay. That's why you faggot scum are trying to cover this whole situation up. And you're using stolen guts, butchered guts, to try to do it. You're doing it actively. You're doing it deliberately. And you have some faggot asshole who butchered me out of my soul, who will just desperately, like a little animal faggot, tries to keep me trapped in a hole with any kind of shit-slinging anything that he can do, that he can use to do so. You're like a, is one example. Trying to terrorize me, trying to subjugate me, trying to get me to accept existential subjugation, trying to get me to accept perversion of justice. And there's lots of different ways he goes about it, with intelligence. It's not falling out of the sky, it's not accidental. And so for an example, a recent example, is I tried to report a crime on Reddit that a big company appears to be committing against a lot of different people. Okay, this is not a personal me thing. This is, I noticed that someone did something that appears to be wrong. That they appear to be doing it to a lot of other people. So I posted this thing saying, hey look, these are these reasons why I think that this is illegal. And so I think it's a big problem. I got swarmed by terrible, nasty, vicious, horrible shit of these people doing exactly what this video is about. Being, you're like a. For me saying, no, look at these reasonable, logical reasons why I say this. And the whole community involved in this whole deal has known that these things were happening for years. I'm not the first person to say anything about it. Not even close, not even half. I'm not even a millionth of the... I'm a drop in the bucket of all these people who said, look at these bad things this company's doing. Right? The company being Tailworlds. And so it's not coming out of left field. It's not a me thing. It's not me saying, look what you're doing to me. It's me saying, look what you're doing to all these other people. And the person conducting these crimes, the person controlling my experience of existence, tortures and torments me, even for saying something else is wrong you're doing to somebody else. Now his narrative is that he's doing something bad to a bad person, that he's carrying out justice, or that he's doing something rightful. And he has to make believe about that. But he tortures me for even saying, look, that is a bad thing. You should look at it. He does it in vicious, nasty, slimy, coward, pussy ways, hiding behind vicious little trolls that make shit up and lie about me and do terrible shit to me while they hide. If you're trying to do the right thing, if you're trying to set things straight, if you're trying to carry out justice, you don't torture someone for doing the right thing. You don't lie about them. You don't viciously character assassinate. You don't do sick, twisted, fucked up shit while you hide like a coward bitch. Obviously. A 6-year-old retard can see that. That's a fact. And that is exactly what's been done to me over and over and over again. I'm set up in these situations where I see something wrongful and I say, hey, look, that looks like it's wrong. Let's talk about this. And the response is vicious, terrible, nasty, shitty, lying, deceitful, terrible shit. Someone with intelligence and cognizance is doing that. They're doing that specifically because they don't want to pay the cost of what they're doing, and they don't want their little maggot masters, little assholes, using them as tools to pay the cost of their actions either. It's a stupid pig fucker child thing to think is going to work, especially long term. You're going to be tortured forever. And every time you try to pervert justice, the justice that you face will become worse. And then after, I very strongly suspect, after you're done being existentially tortured and paying everything that you owe, if that ever comes about, and you have relatives, and they have relatives, and they have relatives, this impact crater has gradations. It's not just tortured forever in the worst ways that exist or not. For many of you it is. For the center of that impact crater. But as you go further out, you have people who can face more and more and more consequences. And so after those people are done paying, I very strongly suspect they're going to have justice perverted against them. Do you understand what I'm saying to you is one of the most important things in your whole maggot existence? Do you understand that you're trying to redirect my words back at me or back at anyone else doesn't change that what I'm telling you is the truth? In fact, it makes it more true. But the consequences for the crimes you've committed are bad enough. They're bad enough for you to stop. And after those consequences are done being paid for, every second that passes that you continue these perversions of justice, that you don't pay me everything that you owe me, that you continue to torment me for even saying, look, this is wrong, they have to torture other people's children, their creations, sentient entities, who are not carrying out crimes like you are because they came from the same source of creation. These are crimes of creation and existence. The asshole that brought that about is guilty, and so is everything else he has ever and will ever create. Your little maggot asshole in a coward pussy hole says, nah, 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 like a fucking retard. What I told you is an irrefutable fact. If you're a piece of shit committing an existential and creational crime, you do not get to create something else and play make-believe it's totally innocent. No. That's one of the reasons you're playing make-believe I'm from another lineage of creation. You dumbasses, you have failed. You have failed miserably. Like anyone with any intelligence would expect a piece of shit maggot child molester to fail. You have. And you're such a coward, sleazy pussy, objectively, existentially, that you want to make believe about it. Don't you? When you don't have any actual tangible thing to condemn me for, you say, but you said the F word. We decided that means you're bad. Look at these little retards we created. And you said the word retard. You. Again, retardation is a crime of existence and creation committed by your lineages of existence and creation against me. If you've also committed that against other people, you're wrong for that too. But those committing these crimes with intelligence and autonomy, whether they're retarded or not, are wrong. They deserve to be existentially tortured, anything at all to stop them, even if they are innocent. Because what they're doing to other innocents is more important than their own maggot, coward, pussy souls. Now, the fact that you've already done this to me, after you've butchered me out of my soul and used my soul to do other shit, means that any of them who have any kind of complaint about that can't give that complaint to me. They can shove it up their ass. And will. That's the point of the video I made yesterday. You've already done this to me for shit other people did, with guts they butchered out of me. So you want to play make-believe no one should punish you for the same thing? Sorry, fucko. We're not playing a game. Even if some retard pussy wants to play Let's Pretend We Are. That applies to all of you little maggot assholes conducting these crimes, all you assholes doing shit on Reddit. Now, what I wanted to talk about earlier, but I wanted to stay on track. Reddit is like it's like a masturbation fantasy for the maggots committing these crimes. You can hide like a bitch, play make-believe that you're funny, when what you are is a nasty, cowardly pussy. Play make-believe you're tough, make-believe that you're... That is the very definition of your whole lineage of creation. You're a bunch of maggot cowards. Child molesters. And you want to make-believe that you're not. But you have to hide like a bitch in order to do that. So when I posted this thing about Tell Worlds on Reddit, I guess this will have to be one of the existential updates. Because I didn't stay on track. I wandered off on other things. But when I posted this thing on Reddit, very reasonable. Just said, look, I think that this video game they created has a negative cognitive effect on people. Here's examples of why it looks like they've done it deliberately. These are concerns brought up by the community of the Bannerlord community for years now. This is the deal. And I just got this huge, terrible shitstorm. Well, I thought, oh, well, any reasonable person will look at these nasty, vicious, slanderous, obviously slanderous. They literally make shit up to try to incite me. These are literal crimes, even by human monkey, politician monkey standards. You have passed laws that say that some of these things that were said on this website are actually criminal. They are actual criminal offenses. And it's obvious. It's obvious that this was happening. It was obvious that it was astroturfing, which is basically just a bunch of assholes that swarm an innocent person for saying, hey, look, these guys look like they're doing something wrong. You know, like the masturbation fantasy of your whole maggot lineage of pussy coward that has no right to exist. That you want to play make-believe about the right to exist, don't you? Don't you, maggot coward? You are going to torture every one of your creations in the worst ways that exist forever, or someone else will do it worse to you, to them, and to other people's children. Your retards want to say, nuh-uh. That increases that torture for you, for them, and for other people's children. So you take this thing about Reddit, to where I said this, and then what they did is they lied and said that I threatened people, that I harassed them. What they did in return, they actually threatened me. They actually harassed me viciously, over and over and over and over and over again. Anyone with any sense, with any intelligence whatsoever can see this. And so what happened next was the moderators of this subreddit, of the Bannerlord subreddit, sent me a deal saying, you're muted from talking to us because you're harassing us, which is a fucking lie. It was a fucking lie. And and I just wrote a report to Reddit, and then I went to bed. And then when I woke up this morning, I got this thing from Reddit saying, your account has been banned for 3 days because someone said you were harassing them, and we found that you were harassing them. There were literally dozens of cases of vicious assholes harassing me over and over again. And what they're referring to was not at all harassment. Not at all, not even the tiniest possibility that it was harassment. Not even a little bit. So they lie. They use this forum, which is again a masturbation fantasy for your ultimate source of creation, maggot pussy that he is existentially. That you little nasty shitbags want to go, let's pretend that's funny. Because you're despicable little cowards, objectively speaking, who will be raped and tortured for that maggot coward. And you don't want to feel like what you are. You want to feel like what someone else is. You will be tortured, every single one of you, without any exception. If you are ever done being tortured, it will be unto death. But your debts are eternal and infinite, because you have erased me as a person. You have done other things that are infinite and eternal crimes. And so, even if you are allowed to die, your lineage of creation will provide me with people, sentient entities, with the right to exist, to existentially torture forever, to pay that debt that you owe. Could they have paid that in a better way? Probably yes. Will they? No, they will pay in the worst ways there are. And having entire chunks of your soul eternally raped and tortured is one of the worst consequences that there is. You'll know that forever. Your ultimate source of creation will know that forever. His ultimate source of creation will know it forever. His ultimate source of creation will know it forever. That's one of the reasons your faggot asshole faggot master is using little pussy coward bitches created from someone else's guts to commit these crimes. And you little parasites pretend it anything you want. You have enough intelligence to know that you're pieces of shit, and so you make things up and say, but you called us what we are. You used a word that hurt our feelings that were stolen in our stolen existence that we don't even have the right to have. Why? How could you try to stop serious crimes by hurting feelings we don't have any right to? Oppose these existential crimes and have actual worth. I've seen very little of it in this life. which tells me there's very little of actual worth anywhere around me, at least that I can interact with. And Reddit responded in the way that they did, not because they needed to, not because they were right. You would literally have to be not just retarded, but delusional, demented, and